When your impossible meets an unstoppable God, then you are unstoppable too. It's how a barren woman birthed a nation. It's how a former prostitute anointed the King of Kings. It's how a slave woman became a Moses to her people, and how a single mother learned to love and live with the very tribe that murdered her husband. When their impossible met an unstoppable God, then they were unstoppable too. Now it's your race to run. Plucked from the expanse of an eternal Creator's love and set into the here and now, this is your moment in time. But hold up, because I know what you're thinking. I mean, isn't this how it goes? We get lost in the labels and limitations of the lies we've been sold, or worse, chose for ourselves. And I don't know your particular favorite, but you do. Unwanted, unwelcome, too broken, too used. Or perhaps it's too single, or maybe too married, too young or too old, or just too ordinary, and we feel unqualified, or at best insignificant. Or we don't feel at all because we're drowning in a sea of laundry and dishes. Here's the secret. These women were just like us, but they met the God who is more than enough. Because to you and to me, what looks like an ending, to God, the impossible is just the beginning. He stepped into impossible, birthed of a virgin womb, improbable, able to crush every obstacle, and he ran in your place. He shouldered your weight. And not a power on earth, nor a devil in hell, not even death itself could hold him. And when your impossible meets this unstoppable God, then you are unstoppable too. So all you broken and bleeding, find your healing. All you weary and weak, come, find your strength, because here nothing is quite what it seems. Here the dust gets clothed in glory. And a poor carpenter's son is really the savior of the world, and it's his story we're running in. So let us begin with what he says. And he says, you are loved. He says your life is worth the purchase price of his blood. And the very same spirit that raised Christ from the dead lives inside you. And just as he is, so are you in this world. And what he's called you to, he's qualified you for this relay of faith with those gone before and those yet to race. You're a runner in step with his rhythms of grace. And when your impossible meets this unstoppable God, then you are unstoppable too, see? There's no room for belittling the little in your journey. Here where ordinary meets extraordinary and the mundane meets with eternity, here your small becomes great. So that umpteenth plate of PB&Js made joyfully for the babes who can't repay you becomes an offering in the hands of the one who took a mere lunch and fed the multitudes. Every time the world says, go find yourself, and instead you lose yourself in love for another. Every time you defend the defenseless or choose to be inconvenienced by the sufferer. Every time you greet those little ones with joy instead of resentment. Every time you choose forgiveness when you could have chosen bitterness. Every time you're told success looks like this, yet you serve hidden and unseen. Every time fear tries to keep you hidden and unseen and you step boldly out to lead. No, nothing is quite what it seems, so do this for me. Breathe. Breathe. The highest you'll reach is when you fall to your knees, so breathe. Breathe. Your limitations lost in our limitless King. Now you're free to win, free to run. Spirit wind at your back, in the light of the sun, his breath in your lungs. And no matter what comes, surrender to him who has already won. So dear sister, run. Unstoppable, run. Undaunted in the face of impossible, run. Courageously dangerous, spirit force to be reckoned with, run. Because when your impossible meets this unstoppable God, then you are unstoppable too.